Hi viewers, this is Rajender. Welcome to Rajenderreddykadire Chemistry Point. In previous video, we discussed about chemical reaction definition and physical change chemical changes. Now, in this part 2, we are going to discuss about what is chemical equation and how to write chemical equation. Let us start the topic. Before knowing about chemical equation, let us know about what is symbol. So, symbol is the shorthand representation of name of element is known as symbol. So, whatever the name, element కు name ఉంటుంది కదా. So, the shorthand representation of the name of element is called as the symbol. ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ నేమ్ని షార్ట్గా రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తే సింబల్ అని చెప్పేసి అంటాం. ఆల్రెడీ వీ అబ్జర్వ్ సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది సింబల్స్ ఇన్ అవర్ డైలీ లైఫ్. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద సింబల్ ఫర్ ది రూపీ. రూపీకి సింబల్ ఉంటూ ఉంటుంది. నెక్స్ట్ డాలర్కి ఈ సింబల్ ఉంటుంది. అంటే సేమ్ లైక్ దట్ for elements also we have symbol. So here what symbol are that? For example, you observe C. C means capital C కనబడింది అంటే it represents the element carbon, and capital C small a, it is the symbol for calcium, and CD capital C small d, it is the symbol for cadmium. So here these are the symbols. And the next we consider about the formula. Next one is shorthand representation of molecule of substance, means molecule of element or molecule of compounds in terms of symbols and subscript numbers is known as formulae. Let us consider. For example, we know very well that calcium carbonate CaCO3. This is the symbol for calcium carbonate. Here what we are doing, we are writing the formula of calcium carbonate. We are not writing completely calcium carbonate CaLCium calcium carbonate CaRBO, all these things carbonate. We are not writing all these things. ఇవన్నీ రాయట్లేదు మనం. We are not writing calcium carbonate. Just we are writing, instead of calcium carbonate, we are writing CaCO3. So Ca means calcium, CO3 means carbonate. ఇక్కడ ఏంటి కంప్లీట్గా ఎలిమెంట్ కాంపౌండ్ ఫార్ములా మొత్తం రాయకుండా కాంపౌండ్ని సింపుల్ రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తున్నాం చూడండి. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఏంటి షార్ట్ హ్యాండ్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ molecule of compound in terms of symbol. Now this is symbol of Ca, symbol of carbon, symbol of oxygen, okay, and subscript number. This is known as subscript number. అక్కడ కింద రిప్రజెంట్ చేసిన నంబర్స్ సబ్స్క్రిప్ట్ నంబర్. సబ్స్క్రిప్ట్ నంబర్ రిప్రజెంట్స్ హౌ మెనీ ఆక్సిజన్ ఆటమ్స్ ఆర్ హియర్. ఓకే, సో షార్ట్ హ్యాండ్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ ఆఫ్ మాలిక్యూల్ ఆఫ్ సబ్స్టెన్స్ మీన్స్ మాలిక్యూల్ ఆఫ్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఆర్ మాలిక్యూల్ ఆఫ్ కాంపౌండ్ ఇన్ టర్మ్స్ ఆఫ్ మీన్స్ బై యూజింగ్ సింబల్స్ అండ్ సబ్స్క్రిప్ట్ నంబర్స్ ఈజ్ నోన్ as formulae. This is about the compound. Element also we have the formula oxygen O2. Here what you are doing, instead of oxygen we are writing just only O2, means O means oxygen, 2 means 2 atoms, means always oxygen not exist free in state, it is exist as diatomic molecule. So let us consider some of the formulas here. The first formula for the example is calcium carbonate CaCO3. So this is the formula for the calcium carbonate. Sodium chloride NaCl is the formula for sodium chloride. H2O, this is the formula for water. Means shorthand representation of these compounds by using symbols and subscript numbers is called as formulae. Shorthand representation of a chemical reaction with the help of symbols and formula is called chemical equation. So here షార్ట్ అండ్ రిప్రజెంట్ ఆఫ్ కెమికల్ రియాక్షన్, ఒక కెమికల్ రియాక్షన్ని షార్ట్గా రిప్రజెంట్ చేయడానికి మనం యూజ్ చేసేదే కెమికల్ ఈక్వేషన్ అని చెప్పేసి అంటాం. లెట్ us టేక్ అన్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్. హియర్ జింక్ రియాక్ట్స్ విత్ సల్ఫ్యూరిక్ యాసిడ్ ప్రొడ్యూసెస్ జింక్ సల్ఫేట్ అండ్ హైడ్రోజన్. దిస్ ఇస్ అ కెమికల్ రియాక్షన్. ఈ రియాక్షన్ని మనం వీ హ్యావ్ టు రిప్రజెంట్ దిస్ రియాక్షన్ ఇన్ సింపుల్ మేనర్. సో దట్ గివ్స్ కెమికల్ ఈక్వేషన్. హియర్ it is not possible to write this reaction always. It is not possible. Why? Because it is time taking process. Like this, not only one chemical reaction is not there, some millions of chemical reactions are there in chemistry. So it is not possible to write all these chemical reactions each and every time. So that we have to make it into simple form, so that they introduce chemical equation. Now what is chemical equation? Shorthand representation of chemical reaction with the help of symbols and formulae is called chemical equation. Now let us discuss. So here in this case, zinc reacts with sulfuric acid, produces zinc sulfate and hydrogen. And let us discuss how we can represent chemical equation Now this is the example for chemical equation. This is an example. Now we are going to discuss about representation of chemical equation. How chemical equation is represents. Let us start discussion. So here, before explaining about the chemical equation, means representation of chemical equation, we need to know what are the reactants and what are the products. This is the most important terms. So reactants. What are the reactants? Here reactants are the substances undergo chemical change in the reaction. So whatever the substances which undergo chemical change in the reaction is called reactants, are called reactants. And what are the products? The new substances which are formed during the chemical reaction. The new substance, whatever the new substances which are formed during the chemical reaction is called as products, are called products. Now let us consider with this example. Now in this example, zinc reacts with sulfuric acid. Now these two are the substances undergo chemical change. Okay. Now these two can be called as the reactants. And what are the new products produced? Zinc sulfate and as well as hydrogen. These are the two new products which are produced. Let us know how to write chemical equation. So here one reaction is given here. Calcium oxide on reacts with water produces calcium hydroxide. Now before writing equation from the reaction, first of all you need to identify what are the reactants and what are the products. Okay, so what are the reactants here? Calcium oxide reacts with water, produces calcium hydroxide. Which one is involving in the reaction? Calcium oxide and water are involving in the reaction. And which one? The new product produced, calcium hydroxide is a new product which is produced. Whatever the new product produced is called as product. Now this is considered as the product. And whatever the original substances which are involved, now these two are called as the reactants. Now these are the reactants. Now this is the product. Okay, so first of all, when you observe the reaction, you have to identify what are the reactants, what are the products. రియాక్టెంట్స్ ఏవి, ప్రొడక్ట్స్ ఏవి అని ఐడెంటిఫై చేయాలి. ఏవైతే రియాక్షన్లోకి స్టార్టింగ్లో ఇన్వాల్వ్ అవుతున్నాయో అవి రియాక్టెంట్స్ అవుతాయి. ఏవైతే రియాక్షన్లో కొత్తగా ప్రొడ్యూస్ అవుతుందో ఇట్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ as product. Okay, so now calcium oxide and water are acts as the reactants, and the new product which is produced, calcium hydroxide, is acts as the product. Okay, now here first of all, how to write chemical equation. Let us start. So here whatever the reactants are there, that should be right left hand side of the arrow. Now this is the arrow, this is the arrow, this arrow is present between the reactants and products, and the direction always shows towards the reactants to the product side. Okay, ఇక్కడ రియాక్టెంట్స్ నుంచి ప్రోడక్ట్ సైడ్ డైరెక్షన్ చూపిస్తూ ఉండాలి. నౌ దిస్ షోస్ ది డైరెక్షన్ ఫ్రమ్ రియాక్టెంట్స్ టు products, and reactants should be written at the left hand side of the arrow. Now this is the left side of the arrow, this is right side of the arrow. So what do you mean to say here? Reactants should be written at left hand side of the arrow and products should be written on right side of the arrow. So what are the reactants here? The reactants are calcium oxide and water are the reactants, so they represented towards the left hand side of the arrow. What are the products here? Here the product is calcium hydroxide, it is represents towards the right hand side of the arrow. This is okay. And if more than one reactant or more than one product is there, between them we have to add here plus sign. ఇక్కడ టూ రియాక్టెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఒకటి కాల్షియం ఆక్సైడ్ ఒకటి వాటర్. సో రియాక్టెంట్స్ రెండు ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి బిట్వీన్ దట్ we have to add plus sign. ఇక్కడ ఒకటే ప్రోడక్ట్ ఉంది కాబట్టి need not to add any plus sign here. Okay, so this is the equation in words. Step 1, equation in words. ఇది words లో మనం రిప్రజెంట్ చేస్తున్నాం. Then step 2 లో equation in the form of symbols and formulae. So here first of all, substances undergo chemical change, the reactants are calcium oxide and water, and new substance formed in the chemical reactions are calcium hydroxide. Now formula of calcium oxide is CaO. This is the CaO formula of calcium oxide. Water formula is H2O. They are presented left hand side of the arrow. And formula of the calcium hydroxide is CaOH taken twice. That is represents at the right hand side of the arrow. This is, so overall we can say that now this is equation in words, this is chemical equation. Okay, right. So reactant should be left hand side, product should be right hand side. If more than one reactant is there, they have to add plus sign. Okay, let us consider another example. Zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, produces zinc chloride and hydrogen. Now this is the chemical reaction. So how can we write chemical equation from this reaction? First of all, you have to consider what are the reactants and what are the products. Here zinc reacts with hydrochloric acid, means now these two are undergoing the chemical reaction. So these two are called as reactants. Which one is produced? Zinc chloride and hydrogen gas are produced. Now these two are considered as the products. Now these two are considered as the reactants. So first step is identification of reactants and products, which is completed. First, reactants are zinc and hydrochloric acid. These should be right left hand side of the arrow. Now here zinc and hydrochloric acid. Now these two are represented towards the left hand side. And here reactants are two. So more than one. So that we need to add plus sign between them. So here we are adding plus sign. So why? Here two reactants are there. So between the two reactants we are adding here plus sign. So now next, products. What are the products here? Zinc chloride and hydrogen gas. They are representing towards the right hand side of the arrow. Now this is the arrow, this is the right side, this is left side. So this right side we are writing the products. Now this left side we are writing the reactants. Now this is representation of chemical equation in words. So the first step is representation of chemical equation in words is over. Then next, writing the skeleton equation. How can we write skeleton equation? Now you have to represent the reactants toward the left hand side and products toward the right hand side. That is with the symbols and as well as formula. So here zinc. Zinc is an element. For that the symbol is Zn. Hydrochloric acid is a compound. For that the formula is HCl. So zinc plus HCl gives rise to, here what is produced? Zinc chloride and hydrogen. So here zinc chloride formula is ZnCl2. Hydrogen is the molecule, so H2. So here reactants are left hand side, products are right hand side. This is the representation of the chemical equation. So this is equation in words. Now this is skeleton equation. While writing chemical equation, you remember one thing, that always hydrogen should be represented as H2, oxygen should be represented as O2, and nitrogen should be represented as N2. So here, and chlorine, fluorine, bromine, they are also represented as, so here chlorine is like Cl2, like that we have to represent. Okay, and next fluorine also F2. So next iodine also I2. So why? Because all these are exist as diatomic molecule. There is no possibility for existence as the monoatomic molecule. ఇవి ఎప్పుడైనా డైఅటామిక్ మాలిక్యూల్ అంటే రెండు ఆటమ్స్ కలిపేసి ఒక మాలిక్యూల్ లాగానే ఎగ్జిస్ట్ అయి ఉంటాయి. సో ఖచ్చితంగా ఇన్ ఎనీ కెమికల్ ఈక్వేషన్ మనం ఈ హైడ్రోజన్, నైట్రోజన్, క్లోరిన్, బ్రోమిన్, అయోడిన్, ఫ్లోరిన్ లాంటివి వచ్చినప్పుడు డైఅటామిక్ ఫామ్ లాగానే రాయాలి, అంటే ఈ విధంగానే రాయాలి. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you.